Or rather, Duan Feihong was the murderer. However, it was unclear whether this Duan Feihong was the real deal, or just another imposter in a human skin mask. All of a sudden, the plot had thickened. First, it was the massacre of the Dagger Gang. Then it was Chen Xiaodao accusing Duan Feihong of the murder. No one even knew whether the Duan Feihong in question was authentic. What a mess. Now, Su Jingxing was just as troubled as Wei Jiejia. Of course, it wasn't that Su Jingxing was afraid. Neither did he regret killing Chen Xiaodao. In the situation earlier, it was either him or Chen Xiaodao. He wasn't even the real Duan Feihong, so why should take the fall for this mysterious man who may or may not be Duan Feihong? Besides, if Chen Xiaodao played nice, Su Jingxing wouldn't have minded a conversation. However, he was clearly out for his life, and Su Jingxing wasn't about to let him have his way. If the situation allowed, he too would have preferred to immobilize Chen Xiaodao by crippling him instead of killing him. However, Chen Xiaodao was going at him with his final breath, and if Su Jingxing pulled punches, he would have sustained an injury himself. Using too much strength, on the other hand, would disperse Chen Xiaodao's final breath. With his final breath dispersed, Chen Xiaodao would die beyond a shadow of a doubt. Between himself and Chen Xiaodao, the choice was obvious for Su Jingxing. Many people realized what was going on too, but being on different sides, they obviously refused to take Su Jingxing's stand. Huang Boyi was the first to speak. Duan Feihong, do you have anything to say for yourself? He asked coldly, poised to strike as he curled his hands into the shape of a claw. Su Jingxing ignored him. What was there to say? He wasn't the culprit. The Duan Feihong of dubious identity should be the one getting interrogated. Su Jingxing looked at Wei Jiejia expressionlessly and covertly gave her an eye signal. The first request had been fulfilled. The conditions of the deal were 3 requests. The first deal required him to kill Chen Xiaodao. Su Jingxing had met the conditions. The means did not matter as much as the end, which was Chen Xiaodao dying at Su Jingxing's hands. Wei Jiejia wore a complex expression on her face. She received Su Jingxing's signal, but she couldn't find any words to say. Right now, she was feeling even more troubled. Eldest senior brother was the one who attacked the Dagger Gang. Moreover, he almost killed Chen Xiaodao. Was this mysterious figure really her eldest senior brother? With Su Jingxing as precedence, Wei Jiejia could no longer be certain if the Duan Feihong, who annihilated Dagger Gang, was real or fake. One thing she was certain about, however, was that Su Jingxing was not behind this. During their few encounters, she had gotten a good grasp of Su Jingxing's personality. If she wanted to convince Su Jingxing to destroy the Dagger Gang, she would probably have to offer up the long-lost 9 steps martial arts. Wei Jiejia remained taciturn as many thoughts flashed through her mind. Su Jingxing wasn't bothered by the lack of reaction either. As long as Wei Jiejia had no objections, he had no plans of exposing her. As for Huang Boyi, Su Jingxing darted a glance at him. Then, without saying a word, he walked towards Chen Xiaodao's corpse. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Yes. Don't try to run before you answer my question. Seeing that Su Jingxing was ignoring him, Huang Boyi let loose an angry roar. Forming claws with his hands, he charged at Su Jingxing like a fierce tiger descending the mountain. Saw it coming from a mile away. Su Jingxing snorted. Then, he held his hands up, clenched his fists, and threw a vicious punch. Bam! Fists and claws collided, producing a dull sound. Before the others could see what was going on, they saw Huang Boyi reeling backward uncontrollably. Tap tap tap. His powerful stomps left imprints in the ground. Boom! With nowhere left to retreat, Huang Boyi crashed loudly into the wall. At that instant, the entire wall visibly shook 3 times. Dust and debris fell from the ceiling. Wu Shuhan and the others were stunned. Swish! Quickly snapping out of his gaze, Qi Zhaochen darted at Su Jingxing. "You are not allowed to leave yet," threatened Qi Zhaochen. With a bellow, he unleashed his aura. Thump. Following suit, Su Jingxing unleashed his aura fully and launched a punch that burst through the air. At the same time, he exuded his internal force, creating an air blast that fanned out in the office. Qi Zhaochen blocked the blow. Immediately, he felt a tremendous force sweeping over him, neutralizing all of his attacks and pushing him back. He reeled backward uncontrollably. Tap tap tap. Similarly, his feet left deep prints on the floor. Right before hitting the wall, Qi Zhaochen bellowed and leaped into the air in a swirling motion. Positioning his feet behind himself, he landed on the wall with two loud thuds, then rebounded off it to neutralize the remaining force. When he had stabilized himself on the ground, his hands were shaking uncontrollably. He looked toward Su Jingxing, who had already leaped out from the window. Using the 8 steps rising dragon, Su Jingxing's body was enveloped by a layer of internal force. He traversed across the wall with Spider-Man-like movement, making use of various structures along the way. Before long, he was a distance away from the building. Then, he hopped across some rooftops and disappeared into an alley. "Impressive," praised Wu Shuhan as he came back to his senses. He looked through the window in the direction where Su Jingxing had vanished. To think that Duan Feihong had become so powerful in the few years of absence. Agreed. It seems like he hasn't hit 6th grade yet. If he's this strong at 7th grade, wouldn't he become even stronger at 6th grade? Who knows? Duan Feihong is our prime suspect right now. He might not even have a chance to enter the 6th grade. Oh, right. I nearly forgot he murdered Chen Xiaodao and massacred the Dagger Gang. He did kill Chen Xiaodao, but we don't know for certain if he's behind the Dagger Gang's massacre yet. Heh. Why else would he be running away? The long-bearded old man and the others continued bickering about the topic. Humph. Huang Boyi, who had mostly recovered, harumphed coldly in response. His eyes were burning with hatred, and his flushed face was distorted with anger. As a 7th-grade martial artist, he was actually forced back by a single punch. If Duan Feihong had been a 6th-grade martial artist and used true energy on him, he would have found it easier to swallow. However, at the moment of collision, he could clearly feel that his opponent was using a combination of internal energy and pure strength. This was utterly humiliating for him. In comparison, Qi Zhaochen fared better. He clenched his fists tightly to stop the shaking. Then, he took a deep calming breath and looked at Wei Jiejia. "Is he really Duan Feihong?" he asked huskily. "Emichem? What's that supposed to mean?" asked Wu Shuhan, raising his eyebrows as he turned his gaze to Wei Jiejia. Huang Boyi, the long-bearded old man, and the others also turned to look at Wei Jiejia with curious eyes. Wei Jiejia froze up with her mouth open. At length, she admitted, "He's someone I hired to pretend to be my eldest senior brother." Wu Shuhan and the others were at a loss for words. This was certainly an unexpected twist. "What's his name? Where is he from? Where does he live?" grilled Huang Boyi when his initial shock had passed. Wei Jiejia shook her head. "I don't know." "Yeah, as if. Weren't you the one who hired him?" hissed Huang Boyi. "I'm telling the truth," said Wei Jiejia with a helpless smile. "I only got to know him because he once stepped in to save me when I was in a pinch. Although I hired him, I have no idea what his name is, what he looks like, or where he stays. It's not like I had the courage to ask him either. Whenever we met up, he always wore a mask." After the recent events, Wei Jiejia dared not conceal the truth, knowing that she couldn't possibly fool them for long. Rather than being watched day and night by the Martial Suppression Office, it was better to come clean. Of course, Wei Jiejia deliberately omitted the part about trading the 8 steps rising dragon away. "Humph. Anyone who sneaks around with a mask on is clearly up to no good," commented Huang Boyi sourly, his face stone cold. Qi Zhaochen fell silent. After thinking for a moment, he said, "We can take our time with the matter regarding Duan Feihong. Would you and your younger brother be keen to stay at the Martial Suppression Office for a few days?" "Sure," replied Wei Jiajia delightfully. Now that things had become more complicated, it would be safer for them to stay at the Martial Suppression Office. In the alley, Su Jingxing walked briskly, looking around from time to time to check for security cameras on the walls and at corners. He passed through 7 to 8 alleys, constantly keeping an eye out for security cameras. Then, he went into an empty corner and dumped his wig in a trash bin. He walked the length of 2 more alleys, still keeping a lookout for security cameras. When he made sure there were none, he took off his loose martial arts attire and tossed it in a trash bin too. While he was at it, he also took off his human skin mask and slid it into the pockets of his casual wear. After that, he slowed down his pace and strolled out of the alley. The impersonation of Duan Feihong was only a temporary strategy that was necessary for the deal. Now that the first request had been fulfilled, not to mention Duan Feihong's connection to the Dagger Gang massacre case, he would doubtlessly not use this identity again. Whether or not Duan Feihong was the one who wiped out the Dagger Gang had nothing to do with Su Jingxing. At a leisurely pace, he took a bus and returned to the small courtyard. After closing the door, Su Jingxing immediately took out the card he had extracted. He started with the outermost one, which had been obtained from Chen Xiaodao's corpse. A skill card. Chen Xiaodao was a 7th-grade martial artist. It was natural to assume that his skills were nothing less than extraordinary. Su Jingxing held the card to receive its descriptive information. Colossal Divine Dagger. At first glance, it seemed to be a dagger technique, but it was actually a hidden weapon technique. Throwing daggers. Throwing daggers were hidden weapons, a form of long-ranged attacks. They were perfect for Su Jingxing. In fact, it even made up for one of his major weaknesses. Why couldn't 10 7th-grade martial artists beat a 6th-grade martial artist? Because 6th-grade martial artists possessed true energy, which they could manipulate and apply to their martial arts and weapons, and in doing so, release true energy from a distance away. Sword energy, saber energy, fist imprints, palm imprints. These attacks could be released externally from tens of meters away. If a 7th-grade martial artist could not dodge or evade such attacks, they wouldn't be able to fight back, and would ultimately be killed. Su Jingxing wasn't any different. No matter how much strength he had, how could he hurt his enemy if he couldn't even hit them? Colossal Divine Dagger perfectly compensated for this flaw. The only fly in the ointment was that the card only contained partial content. According to the description, Colossal Divine Dagger had 3 volumes. They were correspondingly, Saber Control with Strength, Saber Control with Energy, and Saber Control with the Mind. The card only documented the content of the first volume, Saber Control with Strength. This wasn't to say that the extraction had been incomplete. Rather, it was because Chen Xiaodao only knew this part. He had only obtained the first volume of the Colossal Divine Dagger. Whether or not he had mastered it remained unknown. Su Jingxing went back into the house and searched up Chen Xiaodao online. From the results, he learned that he had never used a throwing dagger technique in public. There were 2 possibilities to explain that. The first was that Chen Xiaodao was good at covering his tracks, and left no survivors to tell the tale whenever he used throwing daggers. And the second was, Chen Xiaodao had not yet cultivated Colossal Divine Dagger successfully. Su Jingxing carefully read through the descriptive information of this hidden weapon and discovered that the cultivation of the Colossal Divine Dagger wasn't easy. Colossal Divine Dagger. The word colossal alone signified its extraordinary nature. Even the first condition to successfully cultivate it was something that wasn't within the reach of ordinary martial artists. Great strength. That's right, cultivating Colossal Divine Dagger required a lot of strength. This did not refer to nourished strength generated from internal force, but raw physical strength. Someone with Herculean strength. The 1,000, 3,000, and 10,000 caddies of strength of 9th grade, 8th grade, and 7th grade martial artists respectively were all nourished and generated as a byproduct, and they tempered their bodies with internal force. Every time they needed to generate power, they would need to use their internal energy to guide the process. Under such circumstances, even if most martial artists obtained the colossal divine dagger, it would be very difficult for them to successfully cultivate it. Su Jingxing was different. The strength pills he had been taking had given him pure physical strength, with each hand exceeding 7,000 caddies. The colossal divine dagger fit him like a glove. That held true, even if he only had access to the first volume, Saber Control with Strength. Once cultivated, every dagger thrown would be equivalent to a shell exploding. This was the second layer of meaning of the word, colossal. Of course, if he wanted every dagger to have the same impact as a shell, he would also need high-quality throwing daggers. Ordinary throwing daggers cast from iron wouldn't do. Fortunately, Su Jingxing had obtained 3 of such daggers previously, which he had not had a chance to put to use. As he had expected, his encounter with Chen Xiaodao had paid off. It sure felt good to have obtained the colossal divine dagger. He unlocked the card and absorbed all the information in the first volume of the colossal divine dagger. After taking a short break, Su Jingxing took out the other cards and checked them one by one. Essence Energy Card, Essence Energy Card, Strength Enhancement Card, Internal Force Card, Strength Enhancement Card. Over 100 Dagger Gang members had died at its headquarters. Su Jingxing had extracted about 70 cards. After checking them one by one, he realized that only some of the cards contained rewards like Essence Energy cards, Strength Enhancement cards, and Internal Force cards. Conversely, there were several skill cards. Skill, Alcohol Tolerance. Skill, Motorcycle Riding, Car Repairing. Skill, Mixology, Explosions, Makeup Skills, Beatboxing, Lock Picking. What the... There was even a web design skill. How talented. Seems like the Dagger Gang housed many talented individuals. Su Jingxing's mouth twitched in mild amusement as he went through these cards. Until Requiem cards. 2 of them, no less. Su Jingxing's eyes lit up. An astonished look came to his face. Requiem cards gave spirit accumulation pills when unlocked. Spirit accumulation pills were high-grade pills that could increase one's soul power. Su Jingxing was already very surprised when he extracted a Requiem card from the corpses of the 10-man patrol team in Forest Town. He did not expect to extract it again. And 2 of them, no less. What's going on here? Just what is the condition for extracting Requiem cards? Su Jingxing recalled the 2 incidents and discovered nothing out of the blues, other than the fact that they were all murdered. But they weren't the only ones who got murdered. The patrol team dying to a corpse puppet could still be considered a special event. However, the members of the Dagger Gang were killed by the mysterious man who may or may not have been Duan Feihong. This, Duan Feihong, couldn't have been a corpse puppet, could he? The massacre didn't take place in the wild, and corpse puppets weren't so tame that they would limit their targets to Dagger Gang members. The one controlling the corpse puppet was the corpse-raising devil insect egg. So far, no one has been able to control the corpse-raising devil insect. He was at a loss. Even after much thought, Su Jingxing couldn't figure out the key to the puzzle. In the end, he had no choice but to give up. In any case, acquiring Requiem cards was a good thing. He immediately unlocked them and received 3 spirit accumulation pills. Sweet. I didn't think Requiem card could produce multiple pills. Su Jingxing's face lit up. He popped a spirit accumulation pill and stored away the remaining 2. After consuming the pill, the increase in soul power made Su Jingxing's mind clearer, sharper, and more analytical. Unsurprisingly, his card extraction range had increased once again. As to the exact amount increased, he would only know after verifying it back at the crematorium. The crematorium would always be accessible to him. Hence, Su Jingxing was not in a hurry to go. Instead, he stayed at home and unlocked all the cards. He absorbed all the internal force pills and all the skills. As for the strength pills and essence energy pills, he stored them away separately. When all was done, he headed to the crematorium's canteen for chow. After his meal, he found a corpse to experiment with. As expected, his extraction range had increased by yet another meter. Although it wasn't as much as last time, Su Jingxing was still overjoyed. His shift on that day didn't start until the latter part of midnight. But Su Jingxing decided he might as well stay at the crematorium to help others. When it was almost midnight, a call suddenly came in. Then, both corpse collection teams were deployed. Su Jingxing included. As he quickly got on the corpse transportation truck, he asked curiously, "Team leader, what's the situation?" A Black Tiger Gang branch had been completely wiped out. Huh? What in the devil? Who did it? Kong Debao, Feng Taijian, and the others exclaimed in unison. Su Jingxing was equally shocked. The Dagger Gang had just been wiped out that afternoon, and now a branch in Black Tiger Gang suffered the same fate. Could the murderer have been the same group of people? If that was the case, then the murderer's target was most likely the Black Tiger Gang. Dagger Gang was wiped out because of its affiliation to the Black Tiger Gang. Who did it? Do you know who's behind this, team leader? Damn. They are something else to be messing with the Black Tiger Gang. Pfft. It's not like the Black Tiger Gang's invincible. In the Western District alone, they have rivals like the Flying Cloud sect. Do you guys think the Flying Cloud sect did this? After recovering from their shock, Kong Debao and the others began to discuss the matter excitedly. Clashes between syndicates, or even an entire syndicate getting wiped out, was not so much a terrifying event as a sensational happening to the general public. Even more so when the audience in question were Kong Debao, Feng Taijian, Gu Bo, and the other members of the corpse collection team. When one has seen enough corpses, dead men weren't much different from dead pigs. Desensitized as they were, the group was more interested in the identity of the murderer. Directing those questions at Gu Bo was more of a subconscious reaction. Gu Bo brought his men to retrieve the corpses right after answering the call. He was equally clueless when it came to the situation at the scene or the identity of the perpetrator. A sudden thought came to Su Jingxing. Duan Feihong. Could the mysterious figure using the name of Duan Feihong be, once again, involved? Harboring feelings of curiosity and doubt, the group advanced towards the Black Tiger Gang's branch. Great Fortune Restaurant. It was a restaurant situated in the downtown area. Even though it was already well past midnight, the two sides of the street where the restaurant was located remained brightly lit, with many pedestrians milling around. As a result of the incident at Great Fortune Restaurant, half the street was cordoned off. Boisterous crowds had gathered at both ends of the cordon zone, accompanied by the occasional camera clicks from their phones. The security team tried to clear them out but to no avail. There was no helping it, the event was too sensational. A branch of the Black Tiger Gang wiped out clean. A branch based in the downtown area, no less. Not a single noise leaked out when the massacre took place. It was only when the incident was over that blood gushed onto the streets. Even the thought of such an event happening was enough to shake someone up, not to mention it actually happened. People who were up in the middle of the night tended to be troublemakers. Now that they encountered such a situation, things got very heated up. Intoxicated as they were, their excitement was gradually increasing. By the time Su Jingxing and his co-workers arrived outside the cordoned area, the crowd was on the verge of getting into a scuffle with the security team. Fortunately, the sound of a gunshot managed to contain the rowdy throng. Only then did the electrified crowd obediently retreat and open up a passage. The corpse transportation truck smoothly passed through the crowd and entered the cordoned area, stopping before the entrance of Great Fortune Restaurant. As soon as they got out of the car, Su Jingxing and the others smelled an overpowering scent of blood. Looking up, the ground near the entrance of the restaurant was covered in a layer of blood. A headless corpse lay against the threshold of the door. Inside, incomplete corpses were strewn all over the floor. Just how many died, gasped Feng Taijian. He swallowed some spit and put on a face mask. Probably no less than in the afternoon, his partner replied in a throaty voice. The corpses of the Dagger gang members that we moved to the crematorium haven't even been incinerated. With hundreds of new corpses, we might not even be able to fit all of them into the morgue. Geez, said Kong DeBeo, shaking his head. Okay, enough talking. Hurry up and get down to work, ordered Gu Bo irritably. He divided his team into groups of 2 and ordered everyone to start moving the corpses. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Yes. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Yes. Su Jingxing worked with Kong DeBeo to move the corpses while extracting cards. First the first floor lobby, then the kitchen, second floor, third floor. They worked their way up the building, moving corpses outside and into the truck as they progressed. During this process, owing to the increase in extraction range, Su Jingxing managed to extract almost every corpse. Fortunately, the cards were very thin, and not very conspicuous when stacked together. At the scene, Su Jingxing also saw the Commissioner of Command of the Martial Suppression Division, Qi Zhaochen. He also saw the Director of the Crematorium, Wu Shuhan, and the other big shots of the Western District who were at the Dagger Gang headquarters that afternoon. These people had rushed to the scene after receiving the news in the middle of the night. They all wore grim expressions on their faces. Except for Huang Boyi. Black Tiger Gang's branch master, Huang Boyi, the man who Su Jingxing had met and fought that afternoon, had been reduced to an icy corpse. His head, along with half his upper torso, had been sliced clean off. He lay on the stairs that connected the second floor to the third, his eyes wide open. This man had been the Black Tiger Gang's branch master. Unexpectedly, the branch that was massacred belonged to Huang Boyi. When Su Jingxing saw his corpse, he couldn't help but feel sorry. Getting done in was a common fate for those who joined syndicates. Even so, it was rare for someone to die in such an awful manner. After a few months working at the crematorium and with Gu Bo's guidance, Su Jingxing could recognize most of the wounds on corpses by now. It was the exact same. The wounds on the corpses at Great Fortune Restaurant had the exact same marks like the ones at the Dagger Gang headquarters that afternoon. It was done by the same group of people. Wu Shuhan, Qi Zhaochen, and the others could tell as much. However, at this moment, they didn't have attention to spare. They stood around a corpse with grim expressions on their faces. Su Jingxing used the secret ability Advanced Hearing to listen in on their conversation. Commissioner Qi, you should report this to the ones above. This isn't something you can resolve. Already did. Chief Sun is on his way here. What about Head Ouyang? Has anyone informed him? I did, but he's still cultivating in seclusion. In seclusion at this time like this. Will he only come out after the Black Tiger Gang is wiped out? You can't pin it on him. Who would have thought that even Ouyang Feihu would get killed? Yeah. Ouyang Feihu was a 6th grade martial artist, and yet he was no match for the murderer. 6th grade. Ouyang Feihu. Su Jingxing, who was moving the corpses, felt a chill in his heart and nearly missed his footing. If he heard right, Ouyang Feihu should be the deputy head of the Black Tiger Gang. The head of the gang, Ouyang Qinhu, was his biological brother. If they were able to kill a 6th grade martial artist, Duan Feihong, and his group must have been quite formidable. They must have had a 6th grade among them, to say the least. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to kill Ouyang Feihu. Of course, rather than the assailant's grade, Su Jingxing was more interested in what cards he could extract from Ouyang Feihu's corpse. An authentic 6th grade martial artist, what kind of reward could be extracted from him? Su Jingxing couldn't wait any longer. After moving another corpse to the truck, he deliberately walked at the front when returning to the restaurant and quickly made his way up to the 4th floor, where Qi Zhaochen and the others were. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Yes. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Yes. Structures on the 4th floor were heavily damaged, the floor was dotted with holes and the walls were streaked with cracks. There were many corpses on the ground, all of them badly damaged. When Su Jingxing approached a big hole in the wall. Barbarian corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Barbarian? There were barbarians here. Yes. Su Jingxing decided to respond first to extract a card. Then, spurred by curiosity, he crawled into the large hole. The notification had stated "Barbarian Corpse," which meant that the barbarian was already dead. There was nothing scary about a dead barbarian. The hole had been smashed in one of the walls. On the other side of it, the floor was covered in loose bricks. A few metal shelves had been knocked over. After crawling into the hole, Su Jingxing quickly studied his surroundings. His gaze fell on a heap of bricks and broken metal shelves. More precisely, what was under the heap. On the surface, the buried thing looked similar to broken metal shelves. However, Su Jingxing, who had received a notification, knew that the thing beneath the bricks and metal shelves was a barbarian's corpse. He walked closer and moved aside the metal frames and bricks, revealing the complete shape of the object. Battle armor. The corpse was nearly 4 meters tall, covered in armor from head to toe. Sharp weapons were installed on his vital areas: arms, palms, calves, feet and head. A clear palm print had been pressed into the chest area of the battle armor. The dead barbarian was wearing mechanical battle armor. Looking at its joints, exoskeleton, and weapons, the mechanical battle armor was quite high-tech. Of course. Su Jingxing could tell that this wasn't the kind of powerful mechas he had seen in animes and movies. It was more of an exoskeleton armor, except that it covered its user more tightly. The palm print on the chest area of the battle armor was most likely left behind by Ouyang Feihu. In other words, Ouyang Feihu had fought with this barbarian before he died. Was the Black Tiger Gang branch decimated by the organization who was hunting for the barbarian? The one with the deceased young man. Duan Feihong and the young man had been working together previously. Su Jingxing stood still, his eyes shining. Little Su, what are you standing there for? Come over and give me a hand. Kong de Bao called out from the other side of the hole. Coming back to his senses, Su Jingxing turned around. Big brother de Bao, something's not right here, he shouted. There's something wrong with this corpse. Something wrong? Asked Kong de Bao. He walked through the hole with a puzzled look on his face. What's going on? Aren't these just? Oh my goodness, what's this? Kong de Bao was taken aback by the sight of the mechanical battle armor. Then, he quickly walked up, got down on all fours, and studied the mechanical battle armor carefully, as well as the palm print in its chest area. There's someone inside? Of course. Su Jingxing said grimly. Though I'm not sure who. Judging from the palm print on the chest of the armor, this person was fighting someone, and got killed by the impact of a palm strike. The armor is intact, yet the person inside was dead. This could only mean that the power of the palm strike had penetrated. Hold on! Exclaimed Kong de Bao at the sudden thought of something. Wait, the person inside might not be dead yet. Not dead? Asked Su Jingxing, feigning incomprehension and raising his eyebrows. Big brother de Bao, are you saying that the person in the armor is still alive and could be a survivor? Or the murderer? A voice boomed from behind them. Wu Shuhan, Qi Zhaochen, and the others walked through the hole with grim expressions. They had come to check out what was going on after overhearing Su Jingxing's conversation with Kong de Bao. Unexpectedly, once they got a look, the expressions on their faces became especially interesting. Mechanical battle armor. Since when did the Black Tiger Gang develop technology? Why are you pretending? This is obviously left behind by the murderer. The person inside is the murderer. I really didn't expect the murderer to own such advanced technology. Quickly remove the helmet and see who the murderer is. With such a strong physique, he is definitely not a nobody. As they spoke, they pulled off the helmets with brute force, revealing a rugged face that was bleeding from all 5 orifices and had stopped breathing. Seeing this face, everyone, including Kong Dabeo, was startled. In the next second, Wu Shuhan quickly examined the corpse's pupils and teeth, his eyes filled with shock. This is a barbarian. A barbarian in mechanical battle armor. Where did they get it? TSS, the murderer is a barbarian? This is interesting, the murderer is a barbarian. Apart from Su Jingxing, everyone else present was stunned. Qi Zhaoqin's expression changed again and again. In the end, he whipped out his phone and dialed a number. Boss, the case is getting more and more complicated. There's a corpse of a barbarian at the scene. There was a moment of silence. After a while, Su Jingxing heard an echo coming from the phone in Qi Zhaoqin's hand. Got it. I'll report it to the commander right away. Then, he hung up. Su Jingxing blinked and tugged on Kong Dabeo's sleeve. The two of them left the room quietly. What happened subsequently had nothing to do with him anymore. Once the barbarian's corpse was exposed, there would naturally be people following up with it. If Su Jingxing wasn't wrong, the commander mentioned by Qi Zhaoqin's superior should be the commander of city governance of Qinghe City's Martial Suppression Office, the #1 expert in Qinghe, Li Linzhou. With Li Linzhou joining in, Duan Feihong and the young man's faction would probably be very busy from now on. As a small corpse collector, working hard was most important for Su Jingxing. Therefore, he first went to the room where Ouyang Feihu's corpse was. After walking around, he extracted a card. Then, Su Jingxing and the excited Kong Dabeo continued to move the corpses. Tisk, TSK, I didn't expect this. I really didn't think that there would be a barbarian involved in this case. That barbarian is really impressive. He actually wore battle armor, mechanical battle armor at that. Little Su, tell me, what mastermind does the culprit have with the Black Tiger Gang? Why would they get a barbarian in mechanical battle armor to massacre them? That mechanical battle armor is tough enough. If Ouyang Feihu wasn't here at night, Huang Boyi wouldn't have been able to finish off the barbarian behind alone. Ouyang Feihu is a 6th grade martial artist. In the end, he perished together with a barbarian in battle armor. We've finally solved the case. None of the corpses we saw in the Dagger Gang headquarters in the afternoon and those here are complete. Haven't the barbarians always been like this? They love to tear the corpses into pieces and split them into 70 or 80 pieces. Even though Su Jingxing didn't respond, Kong Dabeo kept mumbling to himself the entire way. Although he was a little too excited, his analysis was not far from the truth. The only thing that was missing was who the mastermind was. On the streets. At the perimeter of the blockade, the crowd still hadn't dispersed. Instead, more and more people were gathering. These people ignored the advice of the security team and were excitedly having discussions among themselves. When follow-up personnel from the Martial Suppression Division arrived, they made comments. Each time the corpse transportation truck came and went, they made comments. When leaders of the other forces in the Western District came, they continued to make comments. Until... Look, there's someone in the sky. A cry of surprise rang out, causing the atmosphere to become even more lively. TSS. There's really someone here. That's Li Linzhou, Commander Li. Gosh, I didn't expect Commander Li to come too. What kind of conspiracy has the Black Tiger Gang's matter dug out? The crowd went wild. Even the security team personnel looked up at the sky. In the night sky, a figure streaked across the sky like a wild goose and moved beneath the illumination of the moon. As it flashed, it landed at the entrance of Great Fortune Restaurant. Li Linzhou was here. This most powerful expert commanding over Qinghe City was very elusive. Ordinary people would not be able to catch a glance of him for years. Even for martial artists, few could see him every day. Thanks to the Black Tiger Gang this time, he was finally in the sights of people. Everyone in the corpse collection team was elated. Su Jingxing didn't have much of a reaction. Having inherited the memories of the original Su Jingxing, he only knew that Li Linzhou was very powerful. He was the #1 expert in Qinghe, a 4th grade expert. As for the rest, he basically felt nothing. In particular, Li Linzhou's aura and breathing were so restrained that he was almost like an ordinary person. Su Jingxing became even more unaffected, unlike Kong Dabao, Feng Taijian, and the others who were extremely excited. The biggest impression Su Jingxing had of this #1 expert in Qinghe was his good looks. He was a handsome middle-aged man. He's a man of few words too. Su Jingxing activated his advanced hearing and listened to the conversation between Li Linzhou and the others. He realized that this handsome uncle had only said 3 words from start till end. One was an and the other was a no hurry. For the rest of the time, he remained silent. In the end, Su Jingxing couldn't even be bothered to listen in anymore. He put away the secret ability and busied himself with moving the corpses. Each branch of the Black Tiger Gang had 100 people, including the waiters and chefs of the restaurant. There were a significant number of corpses this time as well. The corpse transportation truck had to make three trips to the crematorium before they were all delivered. Back at the crematorium, Su Jingxing set himself to work on the documentation of particulars. The batch of more than 100 people were all to be registered. Coupled with the corpses from the Dagger Club at noon, they were busy all the way until dawn before everything was taken care of. After breakfast, he took a short rest and continued moving the corpses. Su Jingxing only took out the card when he returned to the small courtyard he resided in after work. The first thing he checked was the card he extracted from the barbarian's corpse. The benefits of increasing soul power allowed Su Jingxing to remember the order of extraction of the cards. The same went for both the barbarian's corpse and Ouyang Feihu's corpse. No surprise. Holding the card in his hand, he read the description. Martial Arts Practice Card. Just like last time, the card he extracted from the barbarian's corpse was a martial arts practice card. This time, it had 12 years of practice time. Perfect to save me the time of cultivating the colossal divine dagger. As for the card from Ouyang Feihu's corpse. True Energy Card. Su Jingxing held the card in his hand and absorbed the information he read. Shock emerged on his face, then turned into ecstasy. A True Energy Card. It is actually a True Energy Card. As the name suggested, the True Energy Card was like an internal force card. One could absorb it and generate true chi out of thin air. The True Energy Card contained 3 years of cultivation. It was equivalent to Su Jingxing possessing 3 years' worth of true energy. Of course. Su Jingxing had yet to open his dantian, so he was unable to store true energy. For the time being, he could only store it in the card. But this did not mean that Su Jingxing could not use true energy. The 7 steps fist and 8 steps rising dragon could be employed by Su Jingxing using true energy as long as he wanted to. It would be much more powerful than using internal force and had a greater destructive range. After all, true energy could be converted into fist imprints that could be released from a distance. It would also allow Su Jingxing to buzz around in the sky. This was the characteristic of the card. The card's ability allowed Su Jingxing to absorb true energy directly. It could also be unlocked and used immediately. This characteristic could save him a lot of trouble before he opened his dantian. So, the True Chi card was very suitable to be Su Jingxing's trump card. He put it away happily. Next, Su Jingxing took out the card he had extracted from Huang Boyi's corpse. Skill card. It was another skill card. Furthermore, this skill did not refer to hacking, makeup, or lock-picking skills, but a secret skill. Similar to advanced hearing, it was a secret ability, one that would strengthen the eyes. Finally, I have obtained the ability of night vision. I would be able to see in the dark like it was the day. There was no way to compare the strength of this skill to that of the advanced hearing. It could only be said that they each had their own advantages. No matter what, it's a steal for me. Su Jingxing took a deep breath and put away the cards. He then took out a spirit accumulation pill, and ate it to calm down. After a while, he checked the other cards to see the rest of his gains. Internal force card, internal force card, internal force card. Most of the rewards the cards contained were internal force cards. Compared to the Dagger Gang with their various life skills, the members of the Black Tiger Gang were much purer. There was not a single life skill in the cards. Most of them were internal force cards. They contained cultivation ranging from 2 months to 5 years. The remaining half were either strength enhancement cards or essence energy cards. When unlocked, would give strength pills and essence energy pills. Su Jingxing sorted them out and stored them away. All done. Su Jingxing ate an essence energy pill to relieve his fatigue and recover his energy. Then, he took out a martial arts practice card, unlocked it, and entered the martial arts practice space to practice the Colossal Divine Dagger. The first volume of the Colossal Divine Dagger, Saber Control with Strength. Su Jingxing met the requirements, so it was not difficult to cultivate it. He mastered everything from the elementary level to the highest level. His consciousness returned to his body, but the white practice space still existed. This meant that out of the 12 years, he still had time remaining. Immediately, Su Jingxing changed to practice the 8-step Rising Dragon. Before this, he had only reached the elementary level of this Peerless Lightness skill. Taking advantage of the remaining time, he practiced again and again, immersing himself in it. When the white martial arts practice space collapsed and his consciousness returned to his physical body, Su Jingxing did a small test in the small courtyard and found that his mastery had reached the advanced level. At this level, if one were to use the true energy card, one could soar into the sky instantly. Su Jingxing would be lying if he said he wasn't excited. Flying using the physical body has been the dream of humans since ancient times. No one on Earth could do it. It was also an extravagant hope for those below 6th grade on Earth Star to achieve it. Even if one was a 6th grade martial artist, he would still need an advanced lightness skill. For example, Li Linzhou was able to fly in the sky because of a powerful lightness skill. If he had not and only relied on himself, he would have to be in the 3rd grade. Su Jingxing could already fly now, and the excitement in his heart was equally insuppressible. After a while, he took a few deep breaths before he regained his composure. Dantian. The next step was to open up his Dantian. Without a Dantian, the true energy card could only be used as a trump card. In that case, his revenge on Wan Rong could only be delayed. Only by opening his Dantian and stepping into the 7th grade would he be able to achieve his goal sooner. Doing so would require a large amount of internal force. After that, he needed to repeatedly push the boundary. Su Jingxing was not short of internal force. When he moved the bodies of the Black Tiger Gang members at night, he gained more internal force than he had before. What he lacked was time. Gathering the internal force in his Dantian and repeatedly pushing himself, this process was very time-consuming. For those with special physiques, it wouldn't take much time. For those who had ordinary physiques and were not diligent, they would have to slowly work on it. Su Jingxing belonged to the latter, so he could not escape the struggle. Of course, not everyone would succeed in opening their Dantian. There were instances of people who failed and being cut off from entering the 7th grade. These people made up a considerable number. In order to increase the success rate, one could consume a high-grade pill. Wall-breaking pill. It could increase the success rate by 80% and shorten the duration required. The only problem was that a wall-breaking pill was worth 1 million Great Yu coins. Even on the black market, it would cost 900,000 coins. Hence, Su Jingxing had to get money. How do I get money quickly? Firstly, I won't do anything that violates my bottom line, such as robbery, kidnap, and blackmail. Otherwise, given Su Jingxing's current strength, it wouldn't be difficult for him to become a robber. Secondly, borrowing from others could also be ruled out. The reason was simple. None of the people Su Jingxing knew were rich. As for selling essence energy pills, it was too slow. Selling the spirit accumulation pill, not worth it. Joining a certain faction, not interested. Su Jingxing had to be crazy to sell himself for this 1 million coins. Worst case scenario, I'll wait until next month. When I hack into the lottery system, I'll grab more. Yes, grab money through unorthodox ways. Don't follow boundaries of the lawful society, but go between them and the underworld. Su Jingxing suddenly thought of a phrase, unlawful suppressing the unlawful. And it just so happened that there was a ready target right now. The Dagger Gang. The Dagger Gang had been exterminated. The assets and cash left behind would eventually be taken away by the Black Tiger Gang. Su Jingxing was not interested in fixed assets, nor could he handle them. But cash was fine. Almost every underground gang was involved in the triad of prostitution, gambling and drugs. The activity that required the most cash reserves was gambling. The Dagger Gang had definitely managed a good number of underground gambling dens. With the death of Chen Xiaodao and others, the money in the safes of those dens have undoubtedly become unowned. It is better to let myself benefit from this dirty money than anyone else. At the thought of this, Su Jingxing's eyes lit up. He didn't gamble, but there were people he knew who liked to play. Feng Taijian. Feasting, gambling and visiting brothels, this big brother loved everything. He would ask him for the locations of Dagger Gang's underground gambling dens. It should not be a problem. At this thought, Su Jingxing did not rest anymore. He packed his cards and closed the door, preparing to head to Feng Tiejian's dormitory. When he reached the door, he remembered that Feng Taijian had been busy the whole night just like himself, so he must be sleeping right now. So, Su Jingxing went back into the house and waited for the night to come. He did not waste his time waiting. He circulated his internal force to stimulate his eyes and slowly activated his night vision. Soon. Night fell. Su Jingxing went straight to Feng Tiejian's dormitory. When he arrived at his destination, Feng Taijian had just woken up. Following the principle of seeking information, Su Jingxing brought Feng Taijian to a restaurant in the Western District for stir-fry. At the dining table, Feng Taijian was very happy. He explained in detail where there was good food, where the girls were the most passionate, and where the entertainment venues were the most lively. Among these, the gambling dens were naturally included. Under Su Jingxing's intentional or unintentional guidance, Feng Taijian unreservedly revealed all the gambling dens under Dagger Gang. That's right, these underground gambling dens would clearly label their backers. The Dagger Gang used to be backed by the Black Tiger Gang. Almost no one dared to cause trouble in their gambling dens, so they were quite famous. Anyone who liked to go for a few rounds knew where they were located. Now, thanks to Feng Taijian, Su Jingxing naturally learned of the locations. This saved him a lot of effort. After dinner, Su Jingxing parted ways with Feng Taijian and immediately headed to the first location. Unexpectedly, he drew a blank. The first underground gambling den was empty of both people and money. The safe in the depths of the office had long been pried open, and cash inside had disappeared without a trace. Obviously, someone else had the same idea as Su Jingxing. Taking advantage of the situation to earn some dirty money. Realizing this, Su Jingxing rushed to the next den. In the end, it was still a wasted trip. The underground gambling den was a mess. Even a few classier light bulbs had been removed, let alone cash. The trip to the third location was also in vain. The fourth. Finally, there was something, but he did not get any money either. This was because the cash in the safe had turned into a pile of waste paper as the two groups fought over it. When Su Jingxing arrived, the ground was littered with broken Great Yu coins. Naturally, no one wanted them. Su Jingxing immediately left and rushed to the next location. On the way, he increased his speed to the maximum. Looking at this trend, someone might just beat him to all the underground gambling dens of Dagger Gang. Su Jingxing didn't want to get absolutely nothing. Fortunately, he was lucky this time. He finally caught two thieves who were still in the act and had yet to leave. Su Jingxing stood guard outside and listened to their movements. When they succeeded, left the gambling den and sneaked into the small alley beside it, he suddenly activated the 8 steps rising dragon. Flashing over, he grabbed the bundles on their shoulders. Hoo-hoo. Swoosh. A strong wind swept across and his figure flickered. Before the two thieves could see what was going on, the bundles on their shoulders suddenly disappeared. The two thieves were dumbfounded. One of them looked around in fear and asked in a trembling voice, "Big brother, what should we do? What else can we do? Of course we have to run." The other man looked wary as he turned and ran towards the entrance of the alley. "Wait for me, big brother." Terrified, he immediately followed. They were not even 9th grade martial artists. They were already considered lucky that they only lost the dirty money after being targeted. The unlucky ones would even lose their lives. As such, they had no other thoughts. Escaping was more important. Over here. After succeeding with the seizing, Su Jingxing found a remote corner, opened the bundle and counted the cash inside. More than 1.1 million. Just enough to buy a wall-breaking pill. For such a small underground gambling den, the cash flow for a night was only about 1 million. It could only be said that they were lucky to sweep it clean this time. The reserve funds must have been in the mix and brought all together by those two thieves. Now that it was in Su Jingxing's hands, it had solved a huge problem for him. There would naturally be risk of repercussions if he were to spend the black money at a regular apothecary. But at the black market, there would be no problem. Su Jingxing immediately went home with the package and put on a black cloak and mask. He then put the money in a suitcase and headed straight to the black market. After paying the entrance fee, he stepped into the streets of the black market. As usual, Su Jingxing walked around before he entered a shop. A black market shop that specializes in selling pills. The background was astonishing. "Boss, do you have the wall-breaking pill?" Su Jingxing asked in an intentionally roughened voice the moment he entered. "I do." The boss with short braids put down the porcelain bottle he was wiping and looked at Su Jingxing. At the same time, he asked, "Which price range do you want for the wall-breaking pill? What are the prices?" Su Jingxing was curious. "There are 300,000 for one, 500,000 for one, 800,000 for one, and 1.1 million for one." The boss gave a detailed introduction and then asked, "Which type do you want?" Su Jingxing was speechless. "All right, I am the one who has fallen behind. The wall-breaker pill is actually divided into 4 grades according to quality. They are also available at 300,000 Great Yu coins for one. Speaking of which, would the wall-breaking pill at the price have any effect?" Su Jingxing cursed in his heart, but his voice remained the same as he said, "Give me one that cost 1.1 million coins. I'll pay in cash." "Okay." The boss bent down and rummaged under the counter. He took out a small box and pushed it in front of Su Jingxing. 1.15 million please." "Huh?" Su Jingxing raised his eyebrows. "Doesn't it cost $1.1 million? That's right. This wall-breaking pill is indeed worth 1.1 million. If there's a mistake, you can ruin my reputation. The boss was neither servile nor overbearing as he replied calmly. Then why is there an additional $50,000? Su Jingxing narrowed his eyes. Oh, you're talking about this? The boss was enlightened. The additional $50,000 is the price of the box. This small box is made of special materials. The pill can effectively retain its medicinal effects when put inside. There won't be any problems for at least 10 years. If you don't need the box, 1.1 million is enough. All right. Su Jingxing's eyes were bright. He didn't waste any more time talking and brought out the suitcase containing the cash. Opening it, he let the boss count the money. The latter took out a bill-counting machine. In front of Su Jingxing, he took his time to make stacks of great notes, and counted them one by one. When he took out 1.15 million great dollars, there were only a few lonely notes left in a corner of the box. Farewell. Su Jingxing took back his suitcase, opened the small box, and checked the wall-breaking pill inside. After confirming that it was as described on the internet, he put away the box and left the shop. $50,000 for a box was indeed expensive, but it was worth it. It could store a pill for 10 years without it losing its medicinal properties and resulting in a deterioration. Such a box could be considered a treasure case. Even if not the wall-breaking pill, he could store other pills in it in the future. Of course, the most important thing was that Su Jingxing didn't feel heartache spending this sum of money. It was equivalent to picking up a wall-breaking pill in a treasure case for free. In addition, they were unlikely to be counterfeit products. Firstly, the black market severely cracks down on counterfeit goods. Once discovered, not only would the merchants be fined, they would also be beaten up. They could lose their limbs or, even worse, their cultivation. Therefore, few dared to sell counterfeit products. Secondly, the wall-breaking pill was from a shop, not a temporary stall. The shops in the black market were all operated over the long term. They were more trustworthy than the regular shops outside. Therefore, Su Jingxing was not worried about buying counterfeit goods. Besides, after the increase in his soul power, his perception had become increasingly exceptional. He could clearly sense a special energy contained within the wall-breaking pill. This energy was very similar to internal force. Su Jingxing resisted the urge to swallow it at once. Opening one's dantian was not something that could be done in one go. Most of the time, one would only consume the wall-breaking pill after having a certain level of confidence from several attempts to succeed in one try. Su Jingxing was not in a hurry. Since it was a rare visit to the black market, Su Jingxing did not leave immediately. Carrying the suitcase, he strolled leisurely on the street. Suddenly, a stall caught his gaze. No, more accurately, it had attracted his attention. In that split second earlier, Su Jingxing overheard an unexpected piece of news. While stunned, he strode over. Everyone, I'm not lying. Really? Do you think I would dare to lie about something like this? At the stall, a short and fat man wearing a mask tried his best to explain to the crowd in front of the stall. Such advanced technology has never been leaked before. If not for the annihilation of the Dagger Gang and the Black Tiger Gang branch, the people outside wouldn't have known that the technology that we've never valued has developed to this extent. If this continues, perhaps one day, even a first-grade powerhouse will be helpless against the might of technology. I believe what you said. All kinds of scientific weapons are improving every day. One day, they will surpass a first-grade expert or even leave a first-grade expert helpless. But, it's too early to say all that now. What has that got to do with the silencers you are selling? A tall and burly man with a rough voice said from among the crowd. That's right. You claim that these little toys at your stall are the reason why people outside heard nothing when the Dagger Gang and Black Tiger Gang branch were destroyed. This really is incredible, unless... Unless what? The pudgy man pressed. Unless you prove it to us, the person who spoke said firmly. Yes, let's test it out and we'll know if it's the truth. Boss, no matter how extravagant you make it sound, not many people will buy it unless they see it with their own eyes. The others agreed. Su Jingxing blended into the crowd and remained silent. Even though he realized that the short and fat man who owned this stall was the person who bought the essence energy pills from him last time. The short and fat man was very cautious. Not only did he change his mask, he also roughened his voice. But Su Jingxing still recognized him. For a very simple reason. There was a special aura coming from this fellow. Su Jingxing remembered it after smelling it once. Moreover, he had the same figure, so it basically confirmed for him that it was the customer from last time. The previous time, the short and fat man was still a customer. He bought Su Jingxing's essence energy pills. This time, he had become a seller and was selling high-tech silencers. His identity was ever-changing. Of course, what led the crowd to gather in front of the stall and collectively confront the short and fat man was the silencers that he sold. The function seemed a little exaggerated. The short and fat man actually claimed that the people outside could not hear anything when the Dagger Gang and Black Tiger Gang branch were destroyed because the murderer had placed such special silencers at the scene. They would be more accurately known as silencing devices. Unlike the long-barreled silencers on pistols, the silencing devices sold by the pudgy man looked like a box, palm-sized and round. He priced them at 200,000 Great US per piece, so naturally no one was convinced. Facing the growing crowd, the pudgy man could only helplessly agree. He picked up a silencing device and pressed it gently on the center and sides. In the next second, everyone present heard a peculiar sound wave spreading out from the stall. In less than 10 seconds, they could no longer hear anything from 10 meters away. The external sound was actually blocked out. Good stuff. How was that achieved? What's the principle behind this? It should be the fluctuation theory. Tone is a type of sound wave. As long as the transmission of waves is cut off, it is naturally impossible to hear them. The crowd started discussing animatedly. Su Jingxing was also surprised by the whole process. Such a small but effective silencing device was indeed exquisite. There was no need to mention the large version, it was available long ago. But it was the first time that Su Jingxing had seen one so young and powerful. If there were more than 10 such silencing devices placed at the scene when the Dagger Gang and Black Tiger Gang branch were wiped out, then there was nothing puzzling about why battle cries at that time could not be heard outside. In other words, this doubtful point was cleared up. It made sense. Even the barbarian sent out by the mastermind was equipped with high-tech mechanical battle armor. It was reasonable for them to own such exquisite silencing devices. In comparison, Su Jingxing was more curious about where the short and fat man learned that such a silencing device was placed at the scene of the massacre.